It's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you a candidate who I was so excited about when she decided she was going to take on running and becoming the MP for the new riding of Burnaby North-Seymour, Lynne Quarmby. So, internationally renowned scientist, professor, engaged citizen, and we all know that by the stand she took on Burnaby Mountain against Kinder Morgan's drilling. Lynne Quarmby is bringing her thoughtful and compassionate energy to Canadian politics. She connects the dots between the economy, the environment, and social justice. She supports a sustainable economy built on knowledge, skills, and renewable resources, actively defends Indigenous rights, free speech, affordable housing, and access to education. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynne Quarmby.
Actually, that works for me. Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all here. Yes, I'm a scientist. For 30 years, I've been doing scientific research. And thanks. One of the things that you learn as a scientist is that you test your ideas against the real world. The real world always trumps your ideas. And if you get too in love with your ideas and you have a hard time letting them go, you don't get very far in science. So here I am. I have been able to let go of ideas and ideologies and stay in tune with the real world. I've been able to be pragmatic even when I know that I have some really cool ideas. Our current government, as most of you are probably aware, is not so good at that. They're very deeply married to their ideas and ideology, particularly our Prime Minister right now. And I just want to use one example of that because it is so relevant to where we're sitting right here on our harbor. And since the theme of today is Defend Our Harbor, I want to talk a little bit about Kinder Morgan. I could go on for 2 hours, but I have 4 minutes, probably 3 now. So bear with me. I just want to start at the source, up at the Athabasca tar sands, where we now in Canada have the greatest rate of deforestation on the globe, surpassing what's happening in the Amazon. And that deforestation is simply not just clear cutting, that is digging everything up. And that is our boreal forests, which are rich, diverse ecosystems that cannot be replaced. Restoration, putting in grass and bringing in some buffalo and planting a few trees, is not bringing back what is one of the globe's top terrestrial carbon sinks. So we're removing that carbon sink, and what are we doing? We're mining bitumen. We're mining the oil sands. And of course, that is bringing fossil fuels out into the world for the purpose of being burned and contributing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere and increasing climate change. So that's just starting there. Then we flow down the Kinder Morgan expansion project, the proposed project that has been getting so much attention, will triple the flow of diluted bitumen to our coast. Diluted bitumen, by the way, this stuff, this tar sands, oil sand stuff is so thick and gooey, it won't flow through a pipeline. So in order to get this stuff to the coast, what they're doing is bringing diluents, most of which are imported from the US. These are lightweight hydrocarbons, things like benzene and toluene, neurotoxins, carcinogens, mutagens, and mixing those in large volumes with the tar sands so it'll flow through the pipeline, and we hope get intact to the coast, although we know that there are issues with the pipeline. We get to the coast, we triple the capacity of the tanks at Westridge. So we will now have, the diagrams show, expanding that port will go halfway across the inlet, almost to Weyowitchin, the Kate's Park. The traffic, sevenfold increase in tanker traffic, those tankers spewing their fumes into our air, lowering the air quality in this harbor, occupying space in this harbor, squeezing out other enterprise, reducing the economy available to other ships who might want to use our harbor. All of those things are the pre-spill. issues. Then, of course, we have the post-spill issues, which there will be a spill. I've been reading the submissions to the recent National Energy Board, and the depth of research that people have put into this. Make no doubt, there will be a spill. It's a matter of time. And when that spill happens, our world-class cleanup, we saw that in action just recently in this spill in English Bay where the Marathaza dumped Bunker C, which as it turns out is a thick, gooey crude, very similar in composition to diluted bitumen. World class means booms scooping the oil off the surface. Eyewitness accounts told us that within hours of that spill, big blobs of tar were sinking through the water column. Toxic tar. Most of that spill is going to be washing up on our shores for a long time and killing the life at the bottom of the ocean in the meantime. If that spill were actually bitumen, and if it were 1,000 times worse than what we saw, in addition to the toxins sinking through the water column, we would have the volatiles, these light hydrocarbons that are used to dilute it, in our air. We would be breathing the toluene, the benzene. Many of us would be very sick very soon. And then, of course, there's the tank farms on the side of the mountain, the proposal to expand those, the risk of fire to Simon Fraser University and to the communities around there, and the risk when there's an earthquake, that those tank farms, if those substances spill to the elementary school just below the tank farms, and again, all these volatiles. So that's enough. On that, I could go on and on about the reasons we don't need the Kinder Morgan expansion project. The fact that we are even still considering it shows the depth to which people are hanging on to ideas and ideology which don't hold up when tested against the real world. If you look at the real world, there's an abundance of alternatives. First of all, none of the Kinder Morgan expansion project, none of that product is for our domestic use anyway. So in terms of our own use of fossil fuels, our own energy needs, those are virtually irrelevant with respect to this project. If you want to talk about jobs, Unifor submitted a statement against this project. Unifor, many of their employees are working in the tar sands. They're still opposed to this project. One of the issues is the impact that the project will have on the fisheries. Another is that this project will likely, ironically, result in the closing of the Chevron station. So we have lots of alternatives. Those alternatives include recent developments in wind power, in solar power, in battery storage, in hydrogen fuel cells, lots more jobs, a clean and beautiful economy, and I'm getting that sign. So it's time for me to move on. Thank you all for coming out.
Lynne Quarmby.